Sometimes, the greatest heroes are the smallest among us. On a warm summer day in San Jose, California, a 9-year-old girl made a phone call that would shake an entire community. Her voice trembling, spelling out her address letter by letter. The Little Caesars employee on the other end couldn't have known that this was no ordinary call. It was a desperate cry for help from a kidnapped child. This is the harrowing and courageous story of Jeannette Tamayo, and how she outsmarted a monster. It started like any other day. Jeannette got off her school bus and walked toward her home. But something was off. The screen door was ajar, and her bedroom window had been shattered. Before she could react, the phone line was dead. Then came a knock. A stranger stood behind the screen door. Terrified, Jeannette opened it, and her nightmare began. The man assaulted her, handcuffed her, and dragged her into the garage. Just as he tried to flee, her older brother Paul arrived. Only 15, he didn't hesitate. Armed with nothing but a screwdriver, he lunged at the man. But the attacker overpowered him, pummeling him violently. Jeannette's mother, Rosalia, soon followed and bravely joined the fight. Armed with a frying pan, Paul tried again, but was beaten back. The attacker struck Rosalia repeatedly until she collapsed, bloodied and unconscious. Jeannette, bound and helpless, could only watch as her family was torn apart. The attacker drove off with Jeannette, speeding through residential streets. She struggled in her bonds, and when she spotted her mother, bloody but alive, running behind the car, hope flickered. Paul was also alive, limping, waving down strangers, screaming for help. Jeannette tried to draw attention, banging against the car window. Her captor noticed and attacked her with a screwdriver. She slid down in pain, believing she wouldn't survive. Back home, Rosalia refused to get in the ambulance. Despite her injuries, she screamed for her daughter, sobbing, "I didn't protect her. I didn't protect my kids." Detectives arrived and began piecing together the horror. Blood at the scene. A cut phone line. No witnesses. San Jose Police Detective Heather Randall knew it was bad. And without a name, license plate, or phone number, a statewide Amber Alert. Determined to act fast, Randall called in bloodhounds and forensic teams. But nothing led them closer. Then they found a security camera nearby. The footage was grainy, but it gave a timeline. The intruder broke in, waited for Jeannette, then followed her inside. Soon after, the chaos erupted. It was just enough to go public. They took to the airwaves. Helicopters flew overhead with loudspeakers blaring Jeannette's name. Flyers were posted across the city. At the same time, in a small upstairs room somewhere unknown, Jeannette was trying to survive. Her captor locked her in a tiny, suffocating room with peeling walls, a small TV that flickered with static, and a cold bathroom no larger than a closet. After each assault, he'd chain her to the showerhead, the metal biting into her skin. It was the only moment she was left alone. No eyes on her, no hands hurting her. "I started to break down and cry," she later recalled. "The shower was the only place he didn't hurt me. It felt safe, somehow." Each drop of water became a kind of mercy. And in that short solitude, she began to think, to plan, to hold on. The next morning, her family appeared on television. Her mother barely held it together. Her cousin, trembling and holding a photo of Jeannette, spoke directly into the camera, voice cracking. "Jeannette, please be strong. We're looking for you. We love you." Jeannette saw it live, from the small TV in that room of nightmares. And something inside her shifted. Her heart ached, but it also ignited. "If I'm going to die," she whispered to herself, "I'll die fighting. I won't just be a name on a flyer." That moment became her turning point. Not the end, but the beginning of her war. Jeannette had been in that room for what felt like an eternity. Her wrists were raw, her mind teetering between panic and survival. She was exhausted, but she refused to give up. Then, something shifted. She realized brute force wouldn't save her, but maybe her mind could. "I decided to talk to him," she later said, "to make him think I was okay, like I wasn't scared." It was the hardest thing she'd ever done. "Where are you from?" she asked him one day, forcing calm into her voice. For the first time, he smiled. It was a sick smile, the kind that made her stomach twist. But she smiled back, pretending not to flinch. She kept talking, asking him small questions, nodding along. Every word was calculated. That night, she asked for water. Trusting her now, he handcuffed her to the bed, just one wrist this time, and walked away. She waited, listened, then looked at the cuff. It wasn't locked. It was mechanical, with a simple latch and button. Her heart pounded. She held her breath and pressed the latch. Click. She was free. But instead of fleeing, she did something brilliant, something few adults would have thought of. She began collecting evidence. A clay turtle, his wristwatch, her own underwear, anything that could prove she'd been there and what he'd done. She hid it all carefully inside a Little Caesars pizza box beneath the bed. If she survived, she would make sure this man never hurt another girl again. That evening, her captor brought her pizza. On top was a missing person flyer, with her face. He looked at her and smirked. "I'll get rid of you tonight." When he returned, he climbed onto the bed with a pillow. Then he began to smother her. Jeannette fought. Her lungs screamed for air. With one last surge, she turned her face just enough to breathe. He stopped. "Want to take a shower?" he asked. She nodded, playing along, still holding on to her stolen clues. Suddenly, loud knocking echoed through the house. Her heart raced. Help? But he jumped on her and covered her mouth. Then silence. Whoever had knocked was gone. He dragged her to the garage, handcuffed her again, and shoved her in the car. Jeannette cried, screamed, but eventually sat in stunned silence. "I was preparing myself for my own death," she said. Still, she memorized every turn they took, every streetlight. A survival instinct she'd honed from day one. After a long drive, the car stopped at a liquor store. He grabbed her by the hair. "I'm letting you go," he growled. "If you ever tell anyone, I'll kill you and your family." Then he shoved her out. Jeannette ran. She burst into the liquor store, covered in dirt and tears. The cashier stared in shock. "Are you okay?" he asked. She was shaking, but alive. The police were called. She told them everything, where he lived, what his house looked like, even turns on the road. Back at the station, Detective Randall couldn't believe it. Jeannette had done what an entire police department hadn't. She found her own way back. With the clues she provided and the DNA from the evidence she'd hidden, they found him. And Jeannette? She came home a survivor. Jeannette Tamayo was just 9 years old when she faced evil head-on. But what saved her wasn't brute strength. It was her bravery, her intelligence, her will to live. She turned a nightmare into a fight, and won. Today, she speaks publicly to help other survivors and shine a light on what children are capable of when trusted, supported, and believed. So if you ever find yourself thinking you're too small to fight back, remember Jeannette. She wasn't rescued by chance. She rescued herself. If you found this story as powerful as we did, hit that like button to help us reach more people. Comment below with your thoughts. Or if you've ever heard of someone who fought back against all odds. And if you want more real stories of survival, courage, and resilience, don't forget to subscribe, because we believe every story like this deserves to be heard.